Yeah, I was asking you, do you believe in God?
And I said no.
Okay, so I'll take the position that God does exist, right? We can debate this. And so I'll ask you, I assume you think rape is wrong, right?
What the hell? No, it's not.
What?
Hold on.
I
can't.
mean, it is.
This dude keeps interrupting. I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Jesus. Okay, so I assume you think rape is wrong, right?
Yes.
Okay, you tell me how you know that.
How do I know that rape is wrong? Because I believe that putting someone else in a situation they don't want to be in is also wrong.
Okay, how do you know that?
I believe that because I have empathy for the people and I understand that, you know, if someone's upset, that's wrong.
Okay, how do you know that showing empathy towards people is good?
Because I have, I don't really, let me think. Empathy is not wrong because it means that, I don't know, let me think. So, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, what if somebody else just said, hey, like showing to, like, so you're using your exact same logic, right? If you have, suppose you had one person who believed that rape is good, and we have you who believe rape is bad, and we have a third person who's undecided. They're like they don't know about the topic, and they're just here to listen to both parties, right? And you say rape is bad, the third party says, well, how do you know that? It's like, well, because, you know, putting people in like a position like that is wrong. And he says, oh, okay. It's like, well, no, that's not true. He's like, well, how do you know rape is good? And he says, well, because putting people in a position like that is good. It's like, oh. And then you was like, well,
What do you mean?
Well, the
what
point.
Do you mean, putting people in that position is good?
Well, that was your first thing you said, was that putting people in that sort of position is bad. And then I asked, how do you know that? And then you said that because I forget the second thing, but you ended up saying.
Okay, well, it's wrong because it like violates someone's consent.
Okay. How do you know that violating people's consent is wrong?
Engage Widowmaker here.
Because it's unethical.
Okay. How do you know that violating people's consent is unethical?
Sniper.
Because it's morally wrong.
Morally wrong and unethical mean the same thing.
Okay, well.
So how do you know that it's unethical, wrong, bad, evil, whatever word you want to use? How do you know that?
So is your argument?
I haven't even presented an argument. I just asked you a question.
Okay, but I'm able to sort of get an idea of what your argument is because of what you're trying to get me to say.
I'm not trying to get you to say anything. I'm just trying to ask you a question.
No, but you are though, because you're kind of using like a manipulation tactic to make me say something because of your. No, like because listen, the way you're.
Manipulation. All I've done is ask you a question. I'm trying to clarify. I'm trying to clarify your view and understand like your argument, and understand your position, understand your meta ethics, normative ethics, applied ethics, epistemology, philosophy.
Calm down.
I'm perfectly calm. Well, hold on. I'm as calm as somebody who's been accused of manipulation, right? Like,
Okay. Well,
the point is,
you're kind of talking fast.
All I've done is just ask you questions.
Your tone has went up a notch.
Well, because you accuse me of manipulation. Obviously, I'm gonna get a little bit frustrated when you accuse me of manipulating.
Why is that a bad thing? Why is it a bad thing for me to say that?
Well, because I'm not manipulating you. It's a false accusation.
How are you supposed to know that you're not manipulative? Who said that?
Yeah, well, because.
What's manipulation? Why do you think that you're not manipulative? Why do you?
Because I don't
that?
think.
What if?
Yeah, so because I don't think I'm manipulating you, because I don't think simply asking questions qualifies for manipulation.
Sniper.
Well, you're not simply asking questions. You're asking suggestive questions. You're not sort of.
What am I suggesting?
You're asking. Well, when you're asking your questions, you're implying something different.
I haven't implied anything. All I've been doing is just asking you questions. I have no idea what you're getting.
Okay, well then, if you haven't implied anything, then how am I getting the idea that you are implying something?
Well, I'm not in your head. You can have that idea, but you can just be wrong. I haven't implied anything. All I've been doing, quite frankly.
How am I wrong for having?
Yeah,
opinion.
Yeah, because your opinion is a statement of a fact of reality, right?
Can I ask you a different question?
I mean, I'm not done with my internal critique. I'd like to go back to the discussion.
Okay, but can I ask you a question?
Sure, after I finish with my internal critique, you can ask me as
Why
many
does it have
questions as
to
I
be
want.
after? Do we have a time limit?
Well, I mean, because we kind
Well, I
of...
mean, that's a yes or no question. Do we
Okay,
have a time limit?
okay.
No, not really. This is an Overwatch game.
Sure.
We don't have a time limit. So I feel like I
Sure.
could ask you any question I want.
Sure, Sentai, let's just chill out.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay,
just
thank
calm
you,
down.
Attendable.
Okay, so hold on. When I
Oh,
say
no.
sure, I mean like when we have a debate, I run an internal critique on you, and then you can
Sure.
run one on me, right? So when I
Oh,
finish with
sure.
my questions, you can ask me as many questions as you want. Sound fair?
I mean, you didn't state that there were any rules at the beginning.
Yeah, I know. I just thought that was assumed.
Why would that be assumed?
Well, because
Have I
that's
done this
typically
before?
what happens
No?
in
Have I spoken
debates.
to you before? Oh, why are you assuming that I've been in a debate before? Why are you
Well,
assuming all these things?
I think
I
that...
feel like you shouldn't really assume stuff.
Sure, so again, I think
Sure,
this...
yeah. I don't really think you should, so I think we should end and you should carry on what you were saying. Or you let me ask what I
Sure,
want.
so I'll just carry on. So that's fine. We just carry on, right? So back to the
Okay,
discussion
that's
here.
fine.
So when you say that you know rape is wrong because it violates people's consent, how do you know that violating people's consent is wrong?
What you cut out.
How do you know that violating people's consent is wrong? Hello?
Well, it's wrong because it's wrong. So, if I say it's wrong in an ethical way, you're gonna say,
Well, I mean,
you're gonna say, oh, how are you supposed to know that's unethical?
that's
correct?
not, no, I would just say that this begs the question. I'm literally asking you that. You would say, well, it's wrong because it's unethical. Unethical is synonymous with wrong, bad, evil, whatever word you want to use. Unethical. I'm just gonna ask you the same question, okay? How do you know that violate people's consent is unethical?
Okay, why do you brush your teeth in the morning?
I would like for my teeth to be clean
Okay, but why do you do that?
because I want my teeth
Did
to
someone
be
tell you
clean.
to do that? Like, how are you supposed to know that that actually cleans your teeth? What if someone told you, hey, brushing your teeth with toothpaste actually doesn't clean your teeth, and that what you've been taught is wrong?
Yeah,
Would you still continue to use toothpaste?
well, yeah, because I can empirically prove they're wrong.
Empirically prove they're wrong? How?
Yeah, because there's multiple scientific evidence on this that proves them wrong.
Okay, there we go. So, there is multiple scientific evidence that raping someone can cause mental harm to another person.
Yeah. The problem,
Yeah.
so yeah, I grant this. The problem is that doesn't tell me if causing mental harm to people is wrong. All that does for you is just tell me that rape causes mental harm. I can agree with you, however, you still have to answer my question. How do you even know that causing mental harm is even a bad thing?
Because of the word harm. Can you tell me
Well-
the definition of the word harm, please?
Well,
I think
the
that would be
definition,
your
sure,
answer.
but the definition of harm, that's fine, that it harms people, but you still have to prove how harming people is even a bad thing. Something that, whether something is good or bad is not...
What is the definition of harm?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's just gonna be like a qualia that's worth not experiencing. Like an
Pardon?
unsolicited,
Say that again?
unwanted qualia is what I would define as harm.
Okay, and can you explain that further?
Yeah, I mean, like, qualia is just gonna be a type of mental state or subjective experience, and an unwanted, unsolicited, or particularly painful qualia is probably gonna be what's defined as harm. But like, once again, right, I don't understand how you jump from X thing causes harm, therefore X thing is bad. This is a is-ought fallacy. You still have to prove how causing people harm is even a bad thing. Somebody else can literally just say causing people harm is a good thing and be just as valid as you. You have no argument for it, you're just saying it's
Okay,
bad.
so what is your argument for the scientific proof that toothpaste is good for your teeth?
Well, because something being, when we're saying good in this sense, we mean it's going to be synonymous with healthy for your teeth, and there's like a bunch of empirical evidence that shows that toothpaste is helpful for your teeth, which is why the majority of people use it.
Okay, but why do you need your teeth to be healthy?
Well, it's just going to fulfill a particular desire of wanting teeth to be healthy.
But why do you have that desire in the first place?
Why do you have the desire? It's probably because it's going to be like a sort of axiological value structure, right? That you find
Can you
either.
explain that further?
Yeah, so it's either going to be the case that like you find healthy teeth to be intrinsically or instrumentally valuable, so you would desire it.
But who are you to say that they're valuable?
Well, I mean, like it's going to be subjective to the person.
So is
Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
it is
like
subjective to each person. Can I talk? Can I talk? So it's subjective to each person for them to want healthy teeth, right? But it's. Are you trying to say that it's not subjective for someone to think that rape is bad?
Me personally, this is your line of questioning. I have no idea where you were going with this. I'm just as lost as you. Like, I don't know where the teeth thing came in from. Right, so, I mean...
No, I'm just trying to use your logic in rape.
But I haven't even made a logical argument. I've just been asking questions.
Okay, would you like to make the logical argument?
Yeah, so the argument for how God exists is going to be premise 1, without God, objective morality cannot exist. Premise 2, objective morality does exist. Conclusion, therefore God must exist. There's first order reasonings, there's second order reasonings, and there's the inference rule. The inference rule is just going to be a typical modus ponens. If P is true, then Q is true, P is true, therefore Q is true, etc., right? Again, if you disagree with this, that's fine, but I'm just going to need you to tell me how rape, incest, murder, genocide, pedophilia, necrophilia, fucking lying, how anything you think is wrong is actually wrong, absent God, because anything that you give absent God is just going to be subjective. Somebody else can literally just say those are good things, it'd be just as valid as you. You have no argument.
Well, why do you have to use rape and murder and genocide and all those things for that, to get your point across? Why can't you use normal day everyday things such as brushing your teeth or getting up in the morning and going to work? Why do you have to use such horrible things?
Because when we're talking about morality, typically we use like these things to further illustrate the point, right? We can further illustrate the dangers of your ideology if we were to use morally repugnant things such as rape, murder, and genocide and slavery.
Okay, what do you mean? Repeat that sentence again?
Well, we can illustrate the dangers of your ideology if we use these particular things.
What do you mean illustrate the dangers?
Well, because what you said thus far is that rape is wrong, right, for X reason, absent argument. X reason being, let's say, violate people's consent. Unfortunately, you don't have an argument for this, you're just asserting this as axiomatically true, hence why somebody else can just give the opposing axiom and just be just as valid as you. So, for example, you can say rape is wrong because it violates people's consent. Somebody else can literally just say rape is good because it violates people's consent and be just as valid as you because you don't have an argument for it.
How is it just as valid?
Well, because it's just as valid because you don't have an argument for it. So something that can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Is Hitchens' razor.
There is evidence.
Well, the evidence of it. Hold on. When I say evidence, I mean like an argument. Like it lacks an argument. You're asserting this as axiomatically.
An argument isn't evidence, though.
No, I know. I'm using it.
Evidence.
Yeah, I'm using it synonymous with evidence. Just replace evidence with argument. Then, right? You're asserting
but
this
thing. They're different.
Sure. So forget I said that. I'm at argument then. That's fine. So anyways, you're asserting this as axiomatically true, absent any sort of argument. So somebody else can literally just assert the opposite and be just as valid as you because you don't have an argument.
That's not correct at all.
Okay, how so?
Explain why you think it is correct.
Yeah, you have the burden of proof. You just said it's not. I just gave you the argument. You can't prove a negative claim. You're on the affirmative. So how does it not make sense? I gave you the argument, and the premises necessarily lead to the conclusion. So I have no idea how you could say this is wrong. What's your argument?
You have no idea I say what is wrong?
Yeah, you said that what I just said is not correct, even though what I just said is an argument. I need you to present your counter argument.
Okay. So how about we switch the roles? How about you argue to me my point and I'll argue to your side?
Why would I do that? Why don't you just give me your argument?
Let's just try it for fun.
No, you can just give me.
Why
This
not?
seems like because it seems like a really.
What's the issue?
Yeah, because it seems like a really weird red herring. I'd rather just keep on topic
A
here.
red herring? What
Yeah.
do you mean?
Yeah, like I said, I'd rather just keep on topic here, right? So do you?
Well, we
do
are
you?
on topic. It's
Sure.
the exact same topic. You're just changing the
I
argument
haven't-
side. What's wrong with that?
Yeah,
Why is
again.
that an issue?
Well,
why
because.
can't you argue to me why you believe God is real?
Well,
why God
I
is
gave you the argument for how God exists.
Okay, but why can't you give me the argument for why God doesn't exist?
Okay, we can do that, but you'd have to concede to this debate that God does exist.
Why do I have to do that?
Well, because
There's
we
no
would be
laws,
switching.
There's no rules in a conversation.
Well, because
so
we
you
would.
to tell me that this is right and this is wrong when that's not true at all. You can just simply do it. No one's telling you that you can't do it. So why are you being so?
Yeah, so the reason why is because it seems to be the case that like you don't have an argument that goes against my argument.
Okay, so your whole point is God real?
No,
I
that's,
said I do not believe in God.
yeah, and then
Yeah?
I told you I took the position that God does exist, and I gave you the argument for it, and you presented no counter argument.
Okay, so your argument as to why God does exist is because rape, because you said isn't rape so you believe that God is real because, see, it's kind of confusing because you're talking about rape and you're like, well, why is rape morally wrong? Who are you to say that it's wrong? Why is it wrong? If someone else came and said that it's right, then that means rape should be fine and it's right. So I don't understand
not what I
what your
said.
exact argument is.
Yeah, so again, I gave you my argument already, then I can give it to you again.
Say it
It's
again?
like you heard it, right? So what I said was that premise 1, without God, objective morality cannot exist. It's first order reasonings. Premise 2, objective morality does exist. Second order reasonings. Conclusion, therefore God must exist necessarily, right? Conclusion. There's a first order and second order reasonings plus the inference rule, which is modus ponens. So that's the full argument. You never presented a counter argument to this.
Well, can you say your argument again, but without like can you like dumb down your argument?
I mean, are you dumb?
Yeah.
Okay. So to put it in layman's terms, I won't say dumb. I don't think you're dumb. You're capable of obviously engaging in debate. Alright, so I don't think you're dumb. I'll put it in layman's terms though. To put it in layman's terms, it's just going to simply be the case is objective morality exists, right? Rape is wrong as a fact of the universe, and the only way this could possibly be the case is if God exists.
Why is that?
Well, because there's no other like a logical, consistent argument that shows that objective morality can exist absent God.
There is no argument that God can exist without objective morality. Is that what you
No,
said?
no, almost. You gotta reverse it. There's no argument that I've heard that's valid or sound or consistent, right? That proposes that objective morality can exist without God. I've never heard this argument before.
Objective morality can exist without God.
I don't think that's possible.
That objective morality can exist without God. Okay, let me think.
back, Aaliyah.
Hello? What about moral... I'm just trying to... What about moral facts?
Yeah, so stance-independent facts can only exist if God exists. That's my argument.
Why do you believe that?
Well, like I said, I've not heard of a defeater using no defeater theory of truth. As in, like, I haven't heard an opposing argument that's valid and sound or consistent.
Right.
Can you, I mean, unless you can demonstrate how objective morality can exist absent God, I don't think that's possible.
So, if I were to say to you that, like, common foundations for objective morality would be the...
Are you ChatGPT?
No.
You are!
No, I'm not. I'm too slow to understand ChatGPT. But I don't understand why people's like ethical reasonings is not like a
What are you reading off of? I'm so curious. It's not. Is it the AI response on Google or is it ChatGPT or what? I'm not. This guy's laughing. I'm not even like laughing. I'm genuinely curious. Like, what are you reading off of? I can explain to you what you're reading if you want me to.
no God needed, just rational consistency and respect for human dignity.
Yeah. So where did you read that off of?
What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm curious. Where did you read it off of first?
No, but what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so again, the problem is when we say respect for human dignity, this is a presupposition. Once again, it's just going to be a thing that's just thrown in there axiomatically. You still have to prove that, like, respecting human dignity is even a good thing. Somebody else can literally just say it's bad and be just as valid as you, that we shouldn't respect human dignity. You don't believe in God.
But why is it a bad thing?
Well, because they could just use your exact same reasoning, right? Whatever reason that you give as to why we should respect human dignity is the exact same reasoning that people could give in the sense that we shouldn't respect human reasoning. Because if you don't believe that morality is objective, then they're just as valid as you.
But, okay, what about if I was to say, like, it's an emotion?
Well, are you a non-cognitivist?
Yeah.
What's non-cognitivism? You know, like I said, if you can just tell me what you were reading off of, or you can just concede to the debate. Like, okay, I don't know why you're just saying stuff at this point. Why would you agree to that thing that you don't even know what it is? Like, come on now.
Because why would you ask me that?
Well, because if when you say that it's just emotions, I'm gonna assume that you're an emotivist, which is a branch of non-cognitivist, which is a branch of moral anti-realism. That's why I asked.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, it's first of all, it's a very, 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 very hard meta-ethical standard to defend. So I was wondering if you are that and are willing to defend it.
Why? How is it very hard to defend?
Well, because you're saying that what is decided or that's good and bad is based off of people's emotions. So if somebody just feels that rape is good, then rape is good.
What? Tactical visor activated.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you believe that it's decided by emotions, as long as somebody just feels like, they just really feel like rape is good. They just really feel it, you know? Then rape is just good to you then.
Wait,
this is
so
justified
you're
according to you.
Why rape is bad?
No, it's a
Beyond
broader.
It's about religion.
No, it's a broader argument about God, but please don't interrupt.
No.
But anyways.
No, because why? Okay, if you're trying to debate why God is real, why do you have to use things such as rape? And I understand you said it's because, like, you basically said it gets your point across more.
Yeah, so the reason why is because typically I host these lobbies every day, and you are right in a sense that I could use literally any single other thing that you find morally wrong, right? But the problem is typically what I find is that people don't actually engage with the point or they rather just try to justify that thing. So I'll ask them, okay, so I assume you think stealing is wrong, right? It's like, well, no, because if you have a super poor family, you have a guy with like 100 like food, it's like, I would say it's justified to steal like just one food or whatever. I was like, okay, so I assume you think like killing people is wrong, right? It's like, well, no, because it depends on who you kill. Alright, nigga, rape. I assume you think fucking rape is wrong, right? It's like, well, yeah. I was like, okay, can we actually engage with the point I'm trying to make instead of you just trying to justify the thing, right? Like, so I use rape as the allegory and metaphor here because people don't actually try to justify this and they actually engage with the point that I'm making. It also demonstrates the incredibly dangers of the position that they hold, right? So yeah, people take the argument way more seriously when I use rape rather than like theft or
That is
lying.
good, bro, but respectfully, you got a lot of accusations on your hands.
Yeah,
feel
I
like
know.
It's not the smartest choice.
I know, but it is the smartest choice considering that all the allegations are just straight up lies, so it's fine.
You confirmed the 16-year-old stepping on you. I don't blame you. I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah, but that's
That
fine,
was
but the
confirmed for you.
yeah,
And
but that's
I've heard
not
that you've showered with your little sister when you were 20.
yeah, I've
I
never
don't know if that's true.
yeah, that's a
but-
lie. So anyways, the broader allegation is that I'm a pedophile. That's the part I'm denying, right? So when we say like
Objective
16-year-old,
morality does not require God.
okay, well that's the first premise to my argument. So can you type into ChatGPT how that's possible?
Human nature.
Well, this is an appeal to nature fallacy, right? This is a fallacious argument simply because we have the biological inclination or disposition to not do or do X thing doesn't actually tell us whether or not X thing is good or bad to do. It's an appeal to nature fallacy. What's the next thing it says? Scroll down.
Execute them all.
Does it say
Consequences of
anything?
Shared values.
You said consequentialism?
Mhm.
Yeah, I have no idea why the AI or ChatGPT would say consequentialism, considering consequentialism is a subjective moral standard, but okay. What else does it say? Does it say anything about Kantianism?
Do you believe in God?
Me? Well, for the sake of argument, yes, because you said you don't.
But what about, okay, aside from this debate, do you believe in God?
Oh, no, of course not.
Do you just enjoy,
Well, yeah, if you would have came in and said you do believe in God, I would have took the opposing position. But you came in and said you don't, so I took the position that God does exist, right?
well, what if I told you that God exists? What if I told you that I do believe in God?
Well, then I would have took the opposing position that God doesn't exist.
Why? Why
Well,
does he
because,
not exist?
well, hold on. Are you conceding to the first debate, or are we moving on? Or you want to take the opposite position now?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you conceding then to the first debate that you don't have an argument against mine, so that God does exist then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, GG's.